is if they decide it's time for their child to come home, they can play this drum, a certain rhythm, a certain cadence. That child will know who that is and know what their parent is telling them.
Right.
And just they could be in the middle of playing and hear that cadence. All right, y'all, I gotta go.
Right.
And that's what it was. So it had to do with what you're telling your child and them understanding that no matter where they are,
right.
This is me talking to you. This is what I'm saying to you. And so I was like, man, I love it in theory. I may redo this in some kind of way, but just the idea behind it is visceral, because I think about the first time my parents told us about how to act. Yeah. And it was, and I didn't think about it at the time, but I think about, like, I'm getting married in January.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I think about when we go to raise a child, and having to give them that talk, and trying to do it in a way to where they aren't limited. Like I want my child to be powerful, to feel powerful, and feel like if you're respecting people and you're not hurting anyone, you should be able to go out and do what you want, be who you want to be. And I think about how there's so many children getting this talk that is out of love. It's to protect you. But getting this talk that for some, it limits them early. And it kind of, it's disconcerting to think that, like, will I be harming my child and giving them that talk? And how can I mix this?
Well, I'm going to guess that you are going to be have a far more well thought out. I mean, you look. We're probably 15 years ahead of that talk, and you're already thinking about exactly what words you're going to use.
Yeah.
So I think your conversation with your child is going to be so thoughtful and so empowering that I wouldn't worry about it, because you're going to, it's going to be imbued with your own with your own challenges that you faced, and also how you've overcome and you've thrived in this society, how you've seen other societies. I mean, it's going to be really well informed, and we'll be praying for that conversation, right?
Hey, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So awesome. So you recently had a show at Conduit Gallery,
yes. Mm-hmm.
And is that still up, or is that?
Oh, it's down now.
All right. Yeah. And so do you have something else coming up soon?
So soon-ish, I guess you want to call it that. There's a show in Houston coming up, and it's in the summer though, so I guess it's kind of far, but where it'll be a show with myself and two other artists.
Okay.
It's called 3 the Hard Way, and it's at the gallery at the Texas Southern University. There's an art gallery there. And so we're setting it up. It opens July 13th.
Uh-huh.
So I'm working on that. So I'm putting some things together because, and it's actually nice to kind of have this downtime, because so much happened in the last year and a half.
Right.
From where it was just like I had a solo show in November, and then there was the one that came up this past May. And so it's nice to kind of sit down and kind of go through a lot of the writing from the research from both trips.
Right.
And then kind of see how that informs my life here, in a sense, because I've kind of taken a step back from making this purely African work. Right. Not purely African, but it's pretty African heavy to where I found it kind of hard for some people to relate to, in a sense. It turned into kind of like a spectator thing. Mm-hmm. So without me being there to explain it, and that's why I think it was so great to have the talks that I was able to give for those shows, because people were like, okay, they saw it. It was like, man, this is cool, but I'm trying to figure out, because I'm thinking when I go to Spencer Evans' show, I think I'm going to see more of this.
Right.
I'm going to see people jumping and twisting and yelling and holding their breath. And then they came and they saw like this kind of calm work, and they were like, okay, all right, you know. And I think I liked it, and I think people did like it. It got some nice reviews, but I do miss the dramatic.
Yeah.
And because I feel it, like it's in there. Like I came back from Africa, and I was like at peace. I was like, okay. And so this peaceful work came out, but then you know, life happens. Like I live here, and like you turn on the news, and you get stopped by the police, like whatever it is. And it's just like, oh, okay, oh, we're back.
Right.
But yeah, so like I've been working on that, and one of the things that comes to mind a lot, and it's something that I'm dealing with, is the concept of transformation. And I feel like I'm in flux, and there's different forms that I take. Like I feel like a shapeshifter at times, and it seems lateral for the most part. It's like I'm okay. It's time for me to, like, for this next step in life that may be a little bit harder or a little bit more different than this one, or may call for a different version of myself.
Right.
I have to become this next form, and it's fun. I kind of liken it to how anime stories.
Yeah.
They have metaphors for like transforming oneself to handle this next problem.
Right.
Where all the ones I've seen, people reach different forms. It's like, okay, like it may be like a fight or a battle that's about to happen, and they're like, okay, and they'll power up and become this different version of themselves to handle that problem.
Right.
And so I've been thinking about that, and like how do I show that? So I've been doing some pieces that have to do with shape shifting and doing some writing that's connected to that, so that I can approach it in a way that's a little bit more thoughtful and not so straightforward. So is this guy doing anime work? Right. Like it's just I want it to be like my version.
And you know, I also teach art history, and you know, it's really interesting. And you know, a lot of the art from the area you were in, a lot of the art is inspired by initiation rituals, transformation ritual, and so you know, I just feel like, you know, regardless of whether, you know, the next, you know, series of paintings looks like these specifically from Nigeria, it's probably going to continue to inform your work.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yes,
and
definitely.
So,
I doubt I'll get too far away from these patterns. Because I think it's from being there. Like my eyes have changed to where things just get like if I look at anything too long, there's a pattern that grows from what's on there. Like from you sitting there, like your lines on that jacket have turned into a pattern that come across your jacket.
Wow.
So I don't think I'll stray away from that until I actually get bored with it, and I don't know when that will happen. So.
Right. So if folks wanted to keep track of you, do you have a website?
Yes.
It is
SpencerEvansArt.com.
All right.
Okay, you get the who and the what from that.
Got it. So SpencerEvansArt.com, and what about Instagram?
I'm on Instagram, and that stuff I'm kind of updating daily.
Right.
And so SpencerEvans_art.
Awesome. Man, it's been a real pleasure sitting down and talking with you. I didn't realize we had as much in common as we do. Right. So it was a great conversation, man.
Definitely.
I really enjoyed speaking to you, and you know, love your work, and I can't wait to see what's next, man.
Oh yeah. I can't wait.
All right. Have a good one. Again, a huge thank you to Spencer Evans. If you want to see more of his work, check out his site at SpencerEvansArt.com or on Instagram at SpencerEvans_art. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, so thanks for listening to this one. As always, you can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, or your favorite podcast app. You can always check out past episodes and see images from each of our conversations at outsideofnewyork.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please go to iTunes to subscribe, and while you're there, please rate the show and leave a quick review. Your feedback is the key to other folks finding us. And lastly, Outside of New York is a commercial-free, listener-supported program. Podcasts have a number of ongoing costs, like paying for a place to store and host all the episodes, or the cost of hitting the road to interview artists who don't exactly live down the street. If you want to make sure we stick around, you can support us by making a donation through Patreon. Patreon is a platform that allows patrons to provide financial support in the form of a one-time payment or monthly donations of as little as $1. Visit patreon.com/outside of New York, or just look for the link at outsideofnewyork.com. Thanks again, and have a great week.